Hey everybody, let me show you what I got going on today. I have this Asus VivoBook. This is a F412D as in dog. And I think it's having memory problems. So it came in, customer says it was freezing when it glitching and freezing. So when it got here to the store, I tried turning it on. It wasn't even posting. Turned it off, turned it on. After a couple of those, basically hard shutdowns, it eventually did turn on and went into a blue screen. So a lot of different symptoms, right? Blue screen, customer says it was freezing, not posting. When you get those different type of errors, sometimes it's difficult. You don't go right. You can't just go right to the, your first thought. But when you do get different types of errors like that, one of the things to take a look at is RAM, right? Because if the RAM is failing, sometimes it might read in post, sometimes it might read and boot up and then freeze. So sometimes it might boot up and then blue screen. So various errors is highly leading towards a RAM problem, at least in my experience. Even if you get a constant blue screen, let's say you get a blue screen all the time, but even the errors of the blue screens are different. IRQ, whatever, just different blue screen messages. Also, again, because if you think of memory, you got this big area, where it reads and writes and keeps stuff stored. So if it's writing to a section, that's fine, you're good. But if it goes to another section, it doesn't. And since that, at least my understanding, is kind of random, that's why it may work. I've had computers that'll boot up and run for an hour and then freeze, right? Whereas it's a little more common, like if you have a bad hard drive, you're going to kind of get almost always kind of like a similar error, no hard drive present, can't boot up, can't read this, can't read that. So here, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but what happened here is, first thing I did, I got it here, start diagnosing it, try to boot it up, no boot, same thing, black screen, not posting. Opened it up. This unit actually has a RAM slot, so it's got onboard RAM, and then it has a RAM slot as well. So this has 4 gigs on the board, right? So on board meaning actually on the board itself, and then it's got a 4 gig, external on the board, but on a slot. So first thing I did is just pop that one out and boot it right away. Boot it right away, didn't blue screen, no freezing, none of that. The battery was pretty dead, and I think the power jack has an issue, but that's something else. So I let it boot up, let it charge up, did some updates, let it restart a couple of times, just go through the motions, and everything was good there. I did not put another RAM in because it has the 4 gigs on the board itself. So we let it run with that. So what I'm doing now is mem test, which you've seen a lot of videos. So I put the 4 gig slot in there. I'm running the mem test. I'm thinking it is gonna fail because the startup of the mem test dragged out. It didn't fail, but it took a long time. So we're gonna run that mem test. Probably gonna have to run it twice, right? Because if it fails, remember, we got the slot and then we got the onboard. So if it fails, then we'll test it, the onboard. Hopefully that one will be fine. Then we'll put a new RAM, test again, because you can have a bad slot, right? You can have a bad connection in the slot, a bad circuit. So you put that in and you got to test it again anyways. And then the ultimate test, which I initially looked around here, is find another laptop that I could just run their RAM straight up on, and that's the only way. It's a lot of testing, it's a lot of time. You don't got to sit there and not do anything, I mean, you do something else. So I mean, if you're doing this and this is the only thing you're doing, yeah, it might it's gonna spend all day, but find things to do in the meantime. So this is gonna run. I'm gonna go finish up an iPad and come back to it, and I'll let you know how it goes. That's what's going on right here right now at PC 911.